Very interesting, the different panels that were featured, speaking of different areas of the HIV/AIDS epidemic, and that's what it's becoming again, folks, okay? Let's not bury our heads in the sand again, as we had been for many years. When I was appointed your ambassador of health for the U.S., it was a self-imposed mandate that I made based on what I was experiencing, not personally, but then again personally. I lost my valet, who worked with me for many years, to AIDS, not knowing exactly what it was. I thought it was cancer like everybody else did from the very beginning of this epidemic thing. Until Rock Hudson put a face on it and gave it a name. Nobody knew what it was. And being as curious as I am, as my grandfather used to say, my mother used to say I was nosy. And I am, I want to know. However, what I felt I needed to know, you also needed to know. And I became Dr. Fauci's nemesis. I mean, Tony hated me. He got to the point, Dionne, you calling me again, why? You doing this to me, why? And I said, because I want to know, and I need to know, and if I'm going to be doing something that's going to be a help to people, then you're going to have to give me some information. And he was generous enough to do so. I love that man very, very much. He's been a part of what I do as a human being, and that's basically all it takes is the quality of being a human being. My grandfather, who was a minister, said that God put us all here on this earth, regardless of color, race, creed, or religion, to be of service to each other. And that's what we have to do, folks, okay? We got to show up as human beings first. Now, listening to these folks up here.
She's got notes.
Yes, I did. I took notes. When I started running around the world, and I did, physically ran around this entire world at my own expense, I would not allow President Reagan to do this to me, giving me the opportunity to walk into that Oval Office when I had to and do this to him. And finally, we got on the same page, and that went through his administration, through the Bush administration, and through the Clinton administration. All of which I didn't feel ever did enough. And they still, as far as I'm concerned, don't do enough. Our federal government seems like they're not doing anything. And that's also got to stop. We have got to rear our heads and let these folks that sit in there making all these laws that none of us want to be of service to us, to continue to do that. And there's a way to do it, folks. All we got to do is show up. That's all we got to do, show up. Anyway, back to these people talking up here. You know, they want to know, how do we reach people? How do we reach young girls? How do we reach young boys? How? Well, when I first started this advocacy of education and educating people on what it was that we were trying to combat, you have to know what you're fighting before you can fight it. At any rate, at that time, the youngsters, we created a comic book. And it addressed that it was okay to touch somebody. It was okay to be in the room with someone. It was okay to hug someone. It was okay. That was not the way this complete disease was contracted. For the older kids, teenagers, which was our targeted group at that point in time, I kept telling Dr. Woodward, we need to get their peers. They watch television 24/7 to be a part of advocating how they should be aware of what is going on within their own little small communities of teens. Instead of spending millions of dollars on flyers, we're going to mail across the country flyers. I said 90% of those homes that you're mailing into, those people can't even read. And as soon as they get that flyer, it goes into the garbage. So why are we spending millions doing that when we can spend millions doing ads on TV, making people aware?